What, what do you think, Shane?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Can't hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Try that.
How about that? That work?
Yeah. Put your headphones on. You can hear.
I have my headphones on. Oh, you're talking about
No, I
yourself.
didn't. I didn't have them on. That's why I
Oh,
couldn't hear you.
can you see me?
I see you fine. What's going on?
Uh,
Trump indictment.
yes, you said I've got it up on my stuff. We got 50
Yeah.
seconds.
No,
Oh,
we
we're
don't.
live already. Oh, we're
We're
live.
live. We're live.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
See,
start talking for God's sake. What the hell are you doing here? I
if
mean,
you would
come
if you
on.
would get
You wasted a minute.
if you would get here before 1 minute till,
I was here at 5 waiting, and I was wondering if I was going to have the same problem all over again, but apparently not.
well,
I look pretty good today. I've been out in the sun, 72 degrees. Where are you at?
I don't care.
You don't
We're going to
care.
talk about Trump. I don't care about the weather. Well, we thought we were going to get an indictment today, but we didn't, Shane. So looks like it's going to be next week, maybe. But still got some things we want to talk about as we go through this. One thing, we've never had an indicted president in the history of the United States. This would be a historic first time.
That's right. And the other thing is just this is an important addition to our library because grand juries. That's that's what we're going to talk about
Yeah.
briefly. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
and grand juries in the United States are, they're groups of citizens, but they're usually anywhere from 12 to 22 members.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they basically review criminal conduct, and a grand jury. It was originally organized under the English law, common law, and it was one of those things that happened back in England
Mm-hmm.
when people wanted to have good or real representation. So yeah, a person does a grand jury usually reviews a criminal indictment.
Mm-hmm.
In federally they have to, but
Yeah.
on a state level they don't. So this guy's operating on a state level. So
Mm-hmm.
the problem with that is he's only a person of interest. So there's no indictment, and there should have been a preliminary hearing to move it from a courtroom before a
Mm-hmm.
state grand jury.
Yeah.
But he's going on previous cases for all this.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's like 5 or 6 things that every knowledgeable lawyer from the left to the right have said this guy he's like way out of bounds. So he's
Mm-hmm.
got that issue, and then of course the other problem that it is that he's got his uh, Robert Costello, who was Cohen's lawyer, and he put all this documentation together years ago to give to the Justice Department about Cohen because you know, he he
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to settle. He didn't want to go on
Mm-hmm.
it, and he didn't want to go to jail, and
Mm-hmm.
so he asked the Justice Department if they had a letter from Cohen saying that he would give up client privilege to him, this guy,
Mm-hmm. And he
and
said yes.
he said yes. He said, "Well, send me over the paper." And he's a 2-page piece of paper. He
Mm-hmm.
showed it on TV, and
Mm-hmm.
so Robert Costello was watching or listening to the grand jury, and because there was a leak, that gal walked out and told everyone what was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much wrong with this that I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a daily dump for the media.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that there's no defense in a grand jury.
That's right. You can't be represented.
Yeah, you're a defendant. Yeah, you're not a defendant. You're just they're being mean to you, as they say. Let's see. There's time limit.
But this is
There's a
important
time
before.
limit for this crime of 2 years.
Right.
Bruce says. So we'll add that in there. Go ahead, Shane.
Well, this is sort of important because I didn't know this before, so I'm glad I
Mm-hmm.
read about it because I think everybody
Mm-hmm.
else would like to know. But anyone can walk in to a grand jury room to testify. You don't have to be asked. You don't have to be petitioned. They don't have to send out, a request that you show up. You can walk in. So that's what this guy, Robert Costello, did. He walked in and wanted to testify. Well, this guy that's doing this, he can't stop
Alvin
him.
Bray.
He can't stop him from testifying because he's there as a free citizen.
Yeah.
And, so he got up apparently a couple of days ago for 2 hours, or Friday for 2 hours, and talked to the grand jury and told them, the story.
Yeah.
So it's now it's delayed. And of course, everyone agrees with you and me. They're making him look like a victim. And this would be a real bad political move because all he has to do is stand up and go, I told you.
Right. I told you so. Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't want him doing it as told you so, because that just,
Yeah. Well, the other thing that weighs into this thing, Shane, is the Secret Service. Now, they've met with the New York police on security, because obviously they're in charge of security for the president. So they take him to New York to court. Obviously, they're going to have to work with the New York Police Department if possible. And more than likely, I don't think you're going to see handcuffs. I don't think you're going to see some kind of a perp walk. He'll be taken in there and surrender with the Secret Service protection in hand.
They're not going to let,
go from there.
The Secret Service won't let the police put handcuffs on him.
No, that's not going to happen. I don't think.
Number one, and if he has any concerns of that, he'll just show up at the courthouse. He doesn't have to show up at the courthouse where the grand jury is. He just shows up at the courthouse, and for his lawyers to look at whatever warrant they've issued.
Yeah,
because this is going to require a warrant. But as Bruce points out, the statute of limitations for what they're using, they have no case. There's no case here. Well,
the other thing that we've got to talk about, Shane, let's say that he is indicted sometime next week. Okay. Yeah. So they have an indictment against him, and they're going to schedule some kind of a trial, and
we'll have to have a hearing. Yeah.
They'll have a preliminary hearing and decide if there's enough evidence to go to trial. And if there is, obviously, and you and I both know this, that if you're indicted, you can still run for president. You can run for president from prison.
That's right. Any public office.
Yeah. The only stipulation is you got to be 35 years of age and you got to live in the United States for 14 years, and that's about it. I mean, everything else is home free.
That's correct.
What was it? The white supremacist from Louisiana ran for office ran for the presidency in prison.
In prison, that's right. Yeah. That's what's so demonstrative about it. Watching the difficulty, all these political, masters of the world, talking on all the channels about this and how bad it is for Trump because of, this. If there's a case, it's all about Stormy Daniels and this affair he had with her. Well, his wife was pregnant. I mean, they're trying to ram it, and nobody cares.
Yeah. Lyndon LaRouche was the guy I was trying to think of earlier.
Oh, Lyndon LaRouche.
Yeah.
Right. He was the guy, man.
I'm old, it just pops out of my brain.
You open a file, and all of a sudden, bam, there it is.
Bam, it's gone. Yeah. So. Bruce says you have to be a U.S. born citizen. That's true. Bruce, you're right. I left that part out. Yeah, you got to be a natural born citizen, 35 years of age, and live in the country for 14 consecutive years.
Which isn't good for women because of what, the Bones man said from CNN. Women are past their prime.
Well, that's true. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way they could successfully run for office.
That will live as his. That'll be on it.
That'll be on his tombstone.
His legacy. It's his legacy now.
That'll be on his tombstone someday. That's true. So
even the gal that won the Academy Award for Best Actress said that on when.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
And this women, I want you to know, tells you that you're not past your prime at 35 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, Shane, what ripple effect will this have on the GOP and Democrat politics? Because I think if the Democrats are constantly on this Trump indictment, they're not going to get their message out as to what they want the voters to know. And this could be quite an interesting next 15 months or so, or how many long we've got to wait for
Well,
the next election.
it's also an effort to be able to overtalk, what the House is investigating about the Biden family, because
Mm-hmm. Well, that too. Yeah.
That's pretty, I mean, this across the board thing, and
Mm-hmm.
they're all grifters. We all know that, but nobody's really talked about it. So I really think this has more to do to try and get the heat off the Biden family,
Yeah.
and their guilt and association. Because again, here we go. The Democrats accuse the Republicans of what they're guilty of, right?
Well, that's true. Well, also, I don't think there's going to be anything like bail. Trump, although he's a rich guy and has planes and stuff like that, he's not a flight risk. And this isn't a crime of violence. So I would guess he'd be on his own recognizance, probably.
It's a misdemeanor what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, they're letting you can go through a yellow pages of criminals in New York City that this guy's let out that have
reoffended,
raped, been caught for raping, then went and raped.
Yeah.
They had a story last week of one guy that he let out after 30 days for rape, and he went and raped 5 women.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say he doesn't have a whole lot of competence. Cohen, you mentioned Cohen earlier. The guy's a convicted perjurer.
Perjurer, yeah.
So
before Congress.
I was going to say, where does that end up? So.
Well, you can't call him to the stand in this case to try and.
Well, that's what I mean. They did in the grand jury, I think, and he said, "Hey, I'll say whatever I need to say to stay out of jail." So,
that's right.
But yeah, if he's under oath in a courtroom, it might be a different. It might be a different story.
It's better than the Wild West. It's the Wild East.
It is. It's pretty funny, actually, when you get right down to it, how desperate they are, and the fear of Trump. Oh my God! I've never seen. I saw fear of Reagan, but we didn't have social media then. Maybe it would have been this bad, Shane, if Reagan had social media. But
well, it's incredible too, because when you look at what happened with Reagan, he got caught with the Nicaraguan affair and admitted to it.
Contras and all that stuff. Yeah.
Then he got caught. Sorry. I'm having sinus problems with the spring here. It's 72.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, I apologize to the listeners. And then he had that whole, savings and loan debacle and recession. And, he got reelected because it was Morning in America. I mean, he knew how to bring out the best of what Americans wanted to hear. And when you live in a free society, you want to be happy. That number one. That's number one.
Yeah.
And then you want to be free. And you want your leaders to tell you that things are great and that you're great and we can get this all done together.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're going. So, well, the other thing we've got to think about, Shane, is will there be mass demonstrations all over the country? Will there be looting and burning and trashing the country? I don't know. It's been my experience that conservatives just have no clue how to demonstrate. I mean, they just don't know how to do it.
Well, I think this is an effort. Again, they're hoping to create something like that. I think that, in my opinion, after what they did with
if they encourage it,
the January 6th thing, if they advance this and they indict him, they're hoping that they'll be able to get all kinds of footage for the FBI to chase people.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up January 6th because I did a shot of the Capitol. That's the green area in the middle of your screen. And if you're not watching this on YouTube and listening to our audio, there's a link to our video in there so you can come over and see this. But I'm looking at the Capitol, Shane. Just to the south, there's two Eastern markets. There's a Trader Joe's. There's a Safeway over there on the right hand side.
That's right.
There's a Good Shelf Eatery. Why were none of those trashed? That's my question. I mean, why didn't there were
Chick-fil-A. I mean, that's a big Republican sandwich store. Yeah, exactly.
There was 200 times as many people outside the Capitol that were inside the Capitol. Why didn't they march down to these places and just start looting? I don't remember any police cars being burned. Dumpsters on fire,
no fireworks,
store windows smashed,
no
pipe bombs, and frozen water bottles. None of that was happening on January 6th. So, that's why I say conservatives have no clue how to demonstrate. They just don't know how to do it.
And the other problem is they don't know how to follow up and tell the story.
True.
They allowed the Democrats with this committee that of investigating, January 6th, free ride of completely misrepresenting what. I mean, no one was going on every day saying there's 40,000 feet of film and we can't see it. I mean, 2 years later, you get it because of Tucker. I mean, why wasn't that video out 2 years ago? Yeah. When they started, because they didn't want it to come out. They had edited it the way they wanted to.
Well, McCarthy wasn't head of the House at the time either, so Nancy wasn't going to put it out. Nancy wasn't going to put it out. Schumer wasn't going to put it out. That's for sure. So, let me remind you to subscribe, ring the notification bell, like us, leave a comment. Ring that notification bell. You'll always be notified whenever we're on. And of course, we are on every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Whoops, got the wrong one there, Shane. I'm not quite done yet.
No, not quite.
Get rid of that one. So, I blew that one wide open. So let's finish up.
It's okay.
Some final thoughts.
It's your rant. It's your rant about.
That's my rant.
Saturday. Let me tell everyone we do a great talk show live on Saturday. For me, it's 7 in the morning to 10.
Yep.
And for Tom, it's 8 to 11. And it's live talk-in radio. It's fabulous. You can call from anywhere in the world. KMMSAM.com. Click it into your computer, your phone. You can call in and participate in the conversation. You can send text to the great Eagle Man, as I call him.
Yeah.
And he'll take your text and your emails, and we'll discuss them on the show. And we have a great time because we're quite popular in the Valley, in that part of Montana. And it's my sister city. It's 500 miles south of me. And I'm in a big, beautiful valley, the Thompson Valley up here. And he's in God's country with 3... count them 3 and then 4, including Yellowstone, 4 of the greatest trout rivers in the world.
Amen to that.
Jefferson, the Madison, and the Yellowstone, and oh my gosh, I mean, it's just a wonderful place. So Saturday's a good day for you if you're having coffee and
it is,
having some speckle and eggs with the kids. Yeah, you just turn this on and you'll enjoy the show. I guarantee it.
There you are, yeah. And if you can't wait till Saturday, you can hear past shows. They're also
that's right. We have a library of the Saturday shows and our podcasts.
And our podcasts are all at KMMSAM.com. Just click on Tom and Shane's podcast. Should be taken over.
Get it out. Come on. It's your
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It's only Tuesday. So I'm in trouble. So, all right. That's going to wrap it up for us, I think. We'll keep apprised of this as to what Trump is up against, if anything. If this indictment holds, and if there's a trial, of course, we'll cover it as we do. And
and keep everyone abreast. I mean, we didn't talk that long about grand juries, but we threw out a few interesting tidbits for people to learn. And we're hoping this is sort of a learning moment for people as well as a conversation.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right, Trump will come out of this. Linda says, great show. Thank you, Linda, for listening, and all of you folks for being here. We really appreciate it very much.
Absolutely.
And as in spite of your cards, letters, and phone calls, we will be back on Thursday, 5 o'clock
That's
Mountain
right.
Time. So we'll
You
see
got
you
it,
then.
baby.
All right. Bye for now.